if you are a home seller, 8 things that you can negotiate other than price. So price you can always negotiate because that's the first thing that a serious buyer who wants to make an offer on the property is going to look at. But there are other things that you as a seller can focus on that could net you more money and at a faster rate than most of the other properties on the market which are competing with your property. And those are the other 8 ones. So let's go with the first one. The first one is contingencies. So there's typically 3 types of contingencies. So there's the loan contingency, there's the inspection contingency, and then there's the appraisal contingency. So most of the time, especially in a market that is going up, most buyers remove all their contingencies and make an offer. So that has shifted right now, and now buyers are more focused on what they can negotiate, especially with contingencies. If you, as a seller, focus on the contingencies before the buyer even came up with that question, you have an upper hand simply because you are prepared to give them more than what the buyers are thinking that they're going to get. For example, let's say there's the appraisal that comes in way lower than their asking price. But if you had put it in the in the MLS that we are that you are willing to negotiate, if the appraisal did not come up at their asking price, they're mentally prepared to go that extra mile and say, hey, here's the seller who wants to negotiate with me even before I ask him something to negotiate with. So what they do is they ignore the other properties that they're competing with and they start focusing on yours, which is exactly where you want the motivated buyer to be, because buyers are like always changing their mind right now to go to the next property, and you have removed that problem. The second thing is the loan contingencies. Loan contingencies could be a problem in the shifting marketplace simply because there was a situation one time when I got into escrow and the buyer lost their job, and I didn't know about it. They did not disclose it to me. They were hoping that they would close on time. But before the loan docs are prepared, the underwriter of the bank makes sure that they're employed and they do a verification. During the verification, they found out that the person did not qualify simply because they were given a notice a few days ago, after getting into escrow, that is, that they probably have to move on to another job. They were let go. I didn't know that. So in that particular case, I was able to rescue it simply by negotiating with the other side, and everything went well. But in this scenario, in a shifting marketplace, this could happen more and more simply because people are losing their jobs, their fear of losing their equity once they buy. They're always changing their mind as soon as they get into escrow. So that is removed. The third thing that you should focus on is the inspection contingency. Now, this is, I think, the most important contingency that a seller should focus on, because once the inspection is done, everybody's on a clock. So there's the inspection report that clearly shows what is wrong with the property, what needs to be fixed, and the likes of it. But the buyer is now going to use that as a tool to negotiate a lower price. So if you, as a seller, don't focus on that in the beginning, you've lost the advantage. So there's ways about going on that, but not in this video, and I'll make another video in explaining how to discuss with the buyer side on negotiating concerning inspections itself. Then the number two among the 8, other than price, that you can negotiate is the terms. Well, you could, as a seller, the upfront say that, hey, we're going to give you all the appliances in the kitchen, or we'll give you a home warranty for 2 years, or we'll give you we'll fix the fence for you, we'll probably even, if the price is right, even fix the roof for you before you move in. Anything is negotiable in those terms. At that point, when you are in the negotiation phase. So that's number two. Number three is occupancy. One of the biggest problems that buyers face is in any market, whether it's a hot seller's market or a buyer's market or a balanced market, is they have to give a minimum of 30-day notice before they move into the house that they're buying. And most of them are renting and they're in a 12-month lease. So if there's a lease break cost involved, you as a seller could offer to pay for that lease break and ease their pain um, in making it happen. Or you could also say that you're flexible enough that you could hand over the keys the day they choose. It can be the day of closing, it can be a month from closing. Either ways, all these things can be negotiated during the occupancy negotiation phase. Third, fourth is the furniture. All the furniture. Most of the time, buyers, when they walk into the open house, they see all the furniture and they do not realize that most of it is staged. If it was done using a stager, most of the furniture is rented and staged and not really usable furniture. But there are pieces of furniture inside a house that can be used for negotiation, and you should use that in the beginning. Like when you're disclosing, you could say all furniture is negotiable, or even through the agent. I mean, I have done it before, where I asked the stagers, my professional stagers, hey, if the buyer likes this stuff, you think you can sell it? And they say, yeah, at a price, and they will negotiate. Of course, they'll negotiate a price, but you'll get a upper hand because you're ahead of the curve, and nobody else has thought about this. Number five is repairs. Once the inspections come in, all the repairs show up there, right? So at that point, what you do is immediately jump on it and strike a partnership, sort of. I mean, not in legal format, but you speak to the inspection company and they have their own network of contractors. Some of them do it themselves because they're licensed and bonded contractors. And what you do is you get a real estimate. They'll definitely give you a real estimate, not the one they give you through the inspection report, but they'll come out there probably a couple of $100, maybe about $300, $400, and they'll give you a real a contractor's estimate on what it takes to fix the whole thing, all inclusive. And you could use that as a negotiation with the buyer side, saying that, hey, we have already done this pre-inspection and an estimate from a real licensed and bonded contractor, and this is what the numbers look like. Would you like to talk to them? And if they back off, then you immediately use and say, we are willing to pay a portion of that inspections. That is a great thing for buyers because buyers are inexperienced. They have never owned a home before, most of the first-time home buyers. That's something that they really look forward to. Then the other one is number six is equipments and tools. Some of you all have workman's stuff in the shed, and some of the new buyers that come in, they want to do the do-it-yourself kind of phase in their mind, and they think they can fix everything, but they fall in love with all the tools because they're looking at it. They had to go to a store and buy all that. It's a lot of work and time and energy and money. Now, if you could include that in the as a portion of the sale of the property, along with the property, because you're not probably going to use most of those tools anyway. Most of the buyers will really like that idea. Then number seven is closing costs. Closing costs are what everybody has to pay but ignore until the very end. But you, as a savvy home seller, and if I've been advising you, I would first tell you to show the closing costs to the buyer's side, just so that it makes the work for the buyer's agent more easy. And they're not fixed numbers, they're just an arbitrary number with a ballpark figure. But what it does is it forces the buyer to pay attention so that they move the pain point, which is paying this large amount of money. It's not a small amount, especially if they're rolling all their savings into the or the bulk of their savings into the closing of the house for the loans and the paperwork and everything else. So that helps a lot, because if even if they don't have the money, they have access to the money. They may be able to dip into their 401k. They may be able to get a gift from their family members and the likes. But it definitely helps them understand that they have to prepare for these closing costs, and it brings clarity on who pays what. Number eight is also connected to the closing costs, and those are the fees. Number eight is fees. Fees are not fixed. Some counties do have fixed fees where the seller pays for the closing costs and the title and all that. But you, in most cases, as a seller, can negotiate that and put it in writing. And some lenders may or may not agree, but you could actually offer that, and the buyer's side and the lender can verify it with their underwriters if it is allowed, and then negotiate and use that towards closing costs and the fees. That may include, uh, you know, a one-time tax fee. You could also include a non non-recurring fee. It depends on bank to bank, and every time it's different. So, but these are the eight points that you could use other than the price. So when somebody comes up with the price as a negotiation, you start with the other eight negotiation points, and then last end with price. I hope this helps you. If you need anything else, I've got your back. This is Roby Thomas with Realty Experts, 510-374-2264.